In this next project, I would like to work with you on a hairdryer. This hairdryer project will have two main components. First, well, how do we surface it? There are a lot of structural elements we could use, the array, how, for example, the air intake can be designed, how to create a simplistic geometrical main body, and then how to create the organic look of a handle, how to create the transitions, etc. And component 2 will be, because we base everything on the hairdryer I showed you in class, a pretty cheap one. It's only a $12 one, so obviously the design is kind of bland and boring. How to fix the surfacing issues and actually how to style it nicely. Because in industrial design, while we consider ourselves problem solvers, very often also we are actually stylists as well. So there's an existing product, for example, as you can see, these are all hair dryers. They all have different shapes and shells, so different stylings. And that's also going to be a big part of your design, coming up with maybe new forms, colors, shapes, surface intersections. So something maintains being attractive and you literally can keep up sales. So process-wise, the first step we should do is actually take dimensions. So I have here created a small image where basically I try to capture quickly a sketch that is maybe hopefully somewhat accurate, and then I slapped on some dimensions. And you see I basically only capture, for example, the width or the length of the upper tubular body, the diameter of the front opening, the diameter of the widest or thickest area, the length of the handle, the length of maybe how far the surface cut will be, the radius of the ring, the diameter of the cable outlet, maybe the length, how far the cable starts to blend into the main body. And then here you see A, B, and A. These are actually cross sections. I tried to measure. The top part is pretty simple because it's a very cylindrical element. There's a fan inside. Fans have to be round so they run smooth, otherwise it doesn't work. So this can be later created with a revolve command or so. But the handle can be very organic, and working there with revolve will be difficult. So we will sculpt this one actually more. So you see here I tried to measure the A, B, and A position, kind of like an estimate. And this doesn't have to be very precise when you start reworking on a product. Getting some broad dimensions helps you simply to create a nice, let's say, three-dimensional blueprint body, which then when we have it in a 3D environment we can work around. I also have the buttons, so the height and maybe the width. Okay, so with this done, step 2, then we can create what is called, for example, a wireframe. And this basically is an advanced version of just having profile images, which are just 2D. In our case, we simply create sketches, three-dimensional sketches, which, as you can see here, describe, for example, the radius, and if I see it from the front, and maybe here there's the other radius or the back, and then there's, for example, some additional lines to create a reference, for example, how from here to there maybe the surface could be lofted or webbed. I also see here I have a small line or curve that actually describes kind of like this cutout area, and to dimension this nicely I put it into this box so I can actually accurately measure this one, and I have a good idea when I take a look at the box at the dimensions. See also, let's apply the scale. I use rotation in object mode a lot. You see here all these, if I turn on the local mode, see I can slide them along one ray. So the way how I created those, if I zoom in, you see this is actually a rectangle and there's no profile. So there's one little trick. Shift A, create a plane. And let's scale this one down, and then X and delete only faces. So we maintain having this profile. Now I can add a sub D modifier in there. And maybe in object mode, scale and scale. So what was it? Let's go back. 4 centimeters by 3.3. So X is 4 centimeters and Y 3.3 centimeters. Apply scale, and there we are. Good. And this is, for example, the B position, so the center. Then Shift D, can make a copy. Now this one should be a little bit smaller, so 3629, 3.6 centimeters by 2.9 centimeters. Apply scale. Alt D or Shift D, doesn't really matter in this case, can bring it down. So this was very easy to build, horizontally oriented, and now I can move it into my package, rotate it where I need it. And because all these elements are rotated, I can now, via local mode, you see, perfectly position them. So let me show you how I created also this outline. So we can make a plane again and scale it down. Maybe top view. Could, for example, delete this one, select all those there. So I have a loop cut I created, and then maybe I will do this first. So cursor to selection, selection to cursor, so it's centered. If I want, copy also the rotation. So U to U, right mouse button click, copy to selected. So now it's rotated. Perfect. We can add a subdivision surface modifier, maybe 3 will be fine. Move this one to there and there. Currently this is aligned, so it doesn't do much. But if we subdivide it once, now we have a point, and you see that we can bend it. Nice. There. And maybe here we move this one to there. And then I have to pay attention to where this gray line is. And that one gets difficult to read, so I can click on this one, so that now I have rather these points I can work with. And you see now the curve nicely flows through these points. That's a lot easier to manipulate. So, modifier, mirror along X, my case works. Perfect. Maybe this one got a little bit off center, 4.3. Okay, so maybe a little bit smaller. Maybe I make this a little bit this way and this way, there. Okay. And maybe one more to the end. So when you work with this mode, you will see when you extrude it, the mesh can change a lot. So you might have to shovel stuff around. But then this way quickly you can create like a profile. I have here just one ring. I just duplicated it and then scaled, for example, this one down as a representation. And here I have a box for kind of like the button. Also with the box again, to do this, let's make a box, and there we will do the same. Select everything, X, only face, and there now we have just a box. So, and when we have this done, then basically now we're ready to maybe start looking into how we can create all the different surfaces. But this will be a very good start, because we have a little bit an idea of the layout, proportions, and dimensions.